Have you ever noticed that after the biggest decisions, nothing seems to happen? Not relief, not excitement, just silence. The kind of silence that makes you wonder if you made the wrong choice. You chose, you committed, you crossed a line you can't uncross. And yet, the world looks exactly the same. No confirmation, no signal, no clear proof that anything actually shifted. This is the moment most people don't talk about, because it's unsettling. The old version of you is already gone, but the new reality hasn't shown itself yet. So you're left in between, not where you were, not where you're going. And here's the part that matters. That quiet space isn't a mistake. It isn't a delay. And it isn't nothing happening. It's the moment after the decision when something deeper has already moved. And the world is about to catch up. You've made the invisible shift. You have collapsed the infinite possibilities of your life into a single, chosen reality. And this is where something subtle begins. You are about to witness how the universe, in a way uncannily similar to quantum entanglement, pulls every person, every opportunity, every puzzle piece into a quiet, effortless coherence with your new timeline. This isn't about striving. It's about harmony. This is the story of the click. There's a moment that comes after the storm, after you've made the huge, life-altering decision, after you've finally chosen a path, turned the key in the ignition, and committed a strange and profound silence often follows. It's a quiet charged with potential, a space where the old you has dissolved, but the new you hasn't fully emerged. You are standing in the echo of your own choice, and you can feel it in your bones. Something is about to happen. Something is rearranging itself just for you. This isn't the moment of decision. This is the moment after. It's the final, most powerful phase. You could call it universal alignment. It's the story of the click, the moment you realize the entire universe is reorganizing itself around your new reality. The moment when everything, and I mean everything, finally clicks into place. We'll see this through the true story of a comedian who wrote himself a check for his future, and then watched in awe as the universe responded. You've initiated a profound shift in your personal timeline. But now comes the aftershock, the cosmic echo. So many people have felt this but struggle to describe it. They use words like synchronicity, flow, or serendipity. Today, we're going deeper. We're going to explore this phenomenon not just as a feeling, but by using the language of our most fundamental and mysterious science, quantum physics. Now, let's get something interesting out on the table. Spiritual communities love to borrow terms from quantum mechanics, like entanglement and the observer effect, to shed light on these deeply personal experiences. This sometimes leads to different interpretations. While scientists study these phenomena at a subatomic scale, we see staggering parallels in our own lives. The reason these ideas are so compelling is that they offer us a near-perfect metaphor to understand those profoundly subjective moments of alignment. The founders of quantum physics were often philosophers themselves, staggered by the questions their own discoveries raised about the nature of reality. So, for our journey today, we will treat these quantum concepts as a powerful symbolic language, a lens to understand the mechanics of universal alignment, not as a literal scientific claim, but as a framework for one of the most magical experiences you can have, the moment the universe falls into orbit around you. Section 1. The quantum shift you made, a metaphorical recap before the click. There was the choice. Not a preference, not a hopeful thought, but a line crossed quietly. internally, and without negotiation. To truly appreciate the power of alignment, you have to honor the massive shift you already made. Think of your life before that decision. It's the feeling of being capable of many things, yet fully committed to none. Metaphorically, it was in a state of superposition. In quantum physics, superposition is where a particle exists in every possible state at once. It is here, there, and everywhere until it is measured. That's exactly how indecision feels in a human life. Everything possible, nothing yet selected. Think of actor Jim Carrey in the early 1990s. This story, which he recounted in a 1997 interview with Oprah Winfrey, is a classic example. At the time, he was a talented but struggling comedian, even living in poverty at one point. His future was a superposition of possibilities. He could become a superstar, keep playing small clubs, or give up entirely and work in a steel mill. Then, around 1990, he made a conscious choice. He drove up a hill in Hollywood, pulled out a check, wrote himself for $10 million for acting services rendered, and dated it for Thanksgiving 1995. With that act, he acted as the observer of his own life. He collapsed his own wave of potential. In that moment, he stopped asking, could this happen? And started living as someone for whom it already had. He chose a single reality from the infinite possibilities, turning endless what-ifs into one tangible, this is it. It wasn't the check that changed his life. It was the identity behind it. This act is the invisible shift that comes before all alignment. Commitment isn't forcing outcomes. It's ending the inner argument. It isn't about anyone else validating you. It's about an internal resolve. You stop vibrating at the frequency of uncertainty and begin to resonate with a single, clear, powerful frequency. This is the psychological and spiritual reality of what it means to commit. You have collapsed your own wave of potential into the particle of your new reality. But this is where most people get stuck. They make the choice, but they keep looking back. They keep checking for signs. They keep needing reassurance. They keep asking if they chose correctly. They keep feeding the old timelines with doubt, fear, and worry. They try to live in one reality while constantly looking over their shoulder at the ghosts of the timelines they abandoned. So they fall into a state of conflict, where the universe is trying to align with their new frequency, but their own energy is pulling them back into the static of the old ones. That inner split often shows up as tension, urgency, or anxiety, the feeling of trying to move forward while still holding the past. Alignment doesn't require effort. It requires consistency. The click of universal alignment can only happen when you fully, 100%, let go of the other possibilities and put your entire focus and vibrational energy into the reality you have chosen. The shift was the cause. The alignment is the effect. You already did the hard part. Now, you have to learn to receive. This is where things get really interesting. After you've made your shift, you start noticing strange things, synchronicities. The right person calls out of the blue. An email with the perfect opportunity lands in your inbox. You overhear a conversation that has the exact answer you need. It feels like magic. It feels like the universe is conspiring in your favor. So, what's happening here? What's important to notice is that these moments don't feel frantic. They don't arrive with urgency or pressure. They feel oddly calm, almost inevitable. You're not chasing signs. You're noticing patterns that seem to meet you halfway. To understand this, we can borrow one of the most fascinating concepts in science: quantum entanglement. In physics, When two particles become entangled, they are so deeply linked that they behave as a single entity, no matter how far apart they are. Einstein famously called it spooky action at a distance. It is an instantaneous and unbreakable connection. Once entangled, the particles don't have to search for each other. They don't move faster. They simply respond as parts of the same system. That's the key metaphor here. Alignment doesn't speed things up, it connects what already belongs together. This is precisely what happened to Jim Carrey. After writing that check, his new frequency began to entangle him with the right opportunities. He landed his breakthrough role in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, then The Mask. Each role was an entangled particle, pulling him closer to his $10 million reality. Notice what didn't happen. He didn't suddenly control the industry. He didn't force casting directors to say yes. What changed was not the world, but the coherence between him and the opportunities meant for that version of himself. The biggest click came just before Thanksgiving 1995, when he learned he would be paid $10 million for the movie Dumb and Dumber. The check and the opportunity were two entangled particles, separated by time, but connected by a single, committed choice. The decision came first. The coordination followed. You and the opportunity become like two entangled particles separate in space, but part of the same event. From this perspective, synchronicity isn't random. It's delayed coherence. Your shift has entangled your timelines, making your encounter not just possible, but probable. The click of universal alignment is the moment you experience a cascade of these synchronicities. Not because the universe suddenly decided to help you, but because resistance has dropped out of the system. It's the universe showing you, in undeniable ways, that your entanglement with your new reality is complete. The job offer, the creative idea, the chance meeting, they are all the entangled outcomes of your original choice. By the time they arrive, they often feel strangely familiar, as if they were always on their way. You are no longer just hoping for a new reality. You are living inside its web of connection. And the most subtle sign of this, you stop waiting for proof. Because alignment no longer feels like anticipation. It feels like recognition. If entanglement explains how the pieces connect, the observer effect explains how you hold them in place. Connection brings things together. Observation keeps them stable. This brings us to the double-slit experiment. To put it simply, when scientists don't watch which slit a particle passes through, it acts like a wave and seems to go through both at once. But the moment they observe it with a detector, the behavior changes. The light acts like a particle and chooses a single path. The act of observation changes the outcome. Nothing is forced. Nothing is pushed. The system simply settles into one expression when it is observed. While in physics, the observer is a measuring device, as a metaphor for our lives. This is incredibly powerful, because in human experience, observation isn't about control, it's about consistency of attention. Jim Carrey did this perfectly. He kept that check in his wallet and looked at it often. He didn't just stick it in a drawer and forget about it. He actively observed his chosen reality every single day, not with urgency, not with desperation, but as a quiet reminder of who he had already decided to be. By keeping it with him, he was constantly reinforcing his frequency, telling the universe, this is the reality, this is the non-negotiable. In other words, he wasn't trying to convince reality. He was stabilizing his own identity. His sustained focus kept his new timeline intact, even in the face of career struggles. Because observation doesn't eliminate obstacles, It prevents you from abandoning the path when they appear. This is what it truly means to keep your eyes on the prize. Not obsessive focus, not visualizing harder, but returning, again and again, to the same inner orientation. Every time you focus on your new reality, act as if it is already true, and feel the gratitude for it now. You are performing a conscious act of observation. Gratitude here isn't pretending. It's the nervous system relaxing into familiarity. You are telling the universe, this is the reality I am observing. This is the one that's real. And what you consistently observe, you stop questioning. This is why doubt is so corrosive. Not because doubt is bad, but because it interrupts coherence. Doubt is when you turn your back on the experiment, allowing the particle of your reality to dissolve back into a wave of uncertainty. You don't destroy the timeline. You simply stop stabilizing it. When you worry, did I make the right choice? You are actively pulling your energy from your chosen timeline. The universe gets mixed signals. The alignment stalls, not as punishment, but as feedback. Universal alignment demands sustained, unwavering focus. Not intensity, not effort, but steadiness. The click happens when your observation becomes so consistent that the new reality becomes your default state. You stop checking if it's working. You stop scanning for reassurance. It no longer requires effort. It is cemented. At that point, alignment isn't something you do. It's something you inhabit. The outside world then has no choice but to conform to the clear, powerful picture you are observing and holding. Because the signal is no longer fluctuating. It's coherent. And reality responds to coherence. One of the defining features of universal alignment is its feeling of ease. The struggle stops. The grind ends. Things start flowing for you instead of at you. This ease often feels unfamiliar at first, especially if you've spent years equating struggle with progress. This isn't about being lazy. It's about being efficient. Effortlessness doesn't mean inaction. It means the absence of inner friction. And once again, physics gives us a beautiful metaphor, the principle of least action. This principle essentially states that nature is incredibly efficient. Light traveling from one point to another doesn't take a random, zigzagging path. It takes the path that requires the least amount of time and energy. The universe, at its core, is always looking for the most efficient route. Nature never forces itself forward. It simply follows the path that's already clear. Now, apply that to our lives. Before your shift, you were likely fighting this principle. You were trying to force things, swimming against your own current, trying harder, pushing longer, believing that effort itself was the signal. You were filled with resistance, doubt, fear, insecurity. Not because you were broken, but because part of you didn't fully trust the direction yet. That resistance creates a low, noisy frequency, like trying to force light through a tangled mess of wires. It takes a ton of energy and feels like a constant battle. This is why misalignment feels exhausting, not because the path is wrong, but because the signal is scrambled. Universal alignment is what happens when you finally sync up with the principle of least action for your life. Not by doing more, but by removing what doesn't belong. When you made your clear, committed choice, you defined point A, your old self, and point B, your new reality. The destination became clear. What remained was interference. By releasing resistance and raising your frequency with belief and surrender, you cleared the path between those 2 points. Surrender here isn't giving up. It's trusting the route once the direction is set. Suddenly, The universe can do what it does best, operate with maximum efficiency. The opportunities that show up. The people you meet, they aren't random. They're not rewards. They're alignments. They are the most efficient, least effortful path to get you from point A to point B. Not the fastest path your mind could imagine, but the smoothest path your nervous system can sustain. The reason it feels easy is because, for the first time, you are not fighting the flow. You're no longer bracing. You're no longer pushing. Your frequency is in harmony with the universe. When coherence replaces effort, momentum appears on its own. You are simply carried. The click is the moment you become fully conscious of this flow, noticing that things are happening with you, not to you. You realize you don't have to break down doors. The key just appears in your hand. Not because the door was locked, but because you were no longer forcing it. You don't have to chase the opportunity. It finds you. Because you've stopped running past what's already aligned. You have stopped creating interference with your own doubt and fear. The signal has cleared. The channel is open. You have become a clear channel for the energy of your intention to move effortlessly. Effortlessness is not the absence of movement. It's movement without resistance. The universe will always bring you what you desire through the fastest, most joyful path possible, not when you control every step, but when you stop blocking the current, if you can just get out of your own way and let it. Understanding these metaphors is one thing. Living them is another. Alignment isn't a one-time event. It's a state you cultivate, not by effort, but by returning again and again to coherence. Here are a few practical ways to deepen your alignment and keep the clicks coming. 1. Conscious observation. Practice the observer effect. Just as Jim Carrey kept the check in his wallet, you must observe your reality into being. Observation here does not mean visualizing harder. It means resting your attention where you want your life to stabilize. Spend 10 minutes each day consciously observing your chosen timeline. 10 minutes isn't a requirement. It's a rhythm, an invitation to slow the signal down. Sit quietly and visualize your day unfolding in perfect alignment. Let the images be soft. Incomplete is fine. Clarity is less important than familiarity. Most importantly, feel the emotions now. Not excitement, not intensity, but the calm satisfaction of something already underway. Feeling the joy, peace, and gratitude raises your frequency, sending a clear signal out into the universe. Gratitude isn't a technique. It's the nervous system recognizing safety. 2. Entanglement journaling. Metaphorical entanglement. Your mind is a pattern recognition machine. Whatever you consistently notice, you strengthen. Get a notebook and call it your alignment log. This isn't about proving anything. It's about training perception. Every time the universe clicks, no matter how small, write it down. Small moments matter most. They signal coherence before results arrive. Thought of someone and they text you. You needed an answer and it popped out of a book. These aren't signs to chase. They're confirmations to register. By recording these, you are consciously acknowledging the web of connection you are a part of. What you acknowledge, you stay aligned with. It trains your brain to see the patterns of alignment. Over time, expectancy is replaced by trust. 3. Release your resistance. The path of least resistance. The path of least resistance only works when the path is clear. Resistance isn't failure, it's information. Your resistance, which is a low frequency, is made of fear and doubt. Fear doesn't block alignment, unacknowledged fear does. To release it, Try this. Close your eyes and ask, what am I afraid of right now? Don't analyze the answer. Let it be felt instead of solved. Let the feeling surface without judgment. No fixing, no reframing, just presence. Don't fight it, just observe it. Observation alone often dissolves resistance. Then, consciously say, I see this fear. Thank you for trying to protect me. And now, I release you. You're not removing fear, you're removing its control. By doing this, you are actively clearing the energetic blockages that are stopping your natural flow. What remains is signal clarity. 4. Embrace the lulls, superposition sometimes. After a big shift, there is a quiet period where nothing seems to be happening. This is where most people panic. This can be terrifying. Because the old feedback loops have stopped, but the new ones haven't fully formed yet. But in our metaphor, this is just the space between the collapse of one timeline and the full arrival of the new one. A reconfiguration phase, not a regression. Instead of panicking, embrace the void. Stillness is not stagnation, it's recalibration. See it as the universe reconfiguring everything behind the scenes. What feels empty on the surface is often busy beneath it. The silence isn't empty. It's the sound of reality being rewritten. 5. Master the art of surrender. The uncertainty principle. In quantum physics, the uncertainty principle basically states that you cannot know both the exact position and the exact momentum of a particle at the same time. Precision in one direction requires openness in another. As a spiritual metaphor, this is the ultimate lesson in surrender. You don't surrender the vision, you surrender control over the route. You can choose your destination, the what, but you cannot micromanage the journey, the how. Trying to control the how is often where alignment collapses back into effort. Once you've set your intention, you have to let go of how it will happen. Letting go doesn't slow things down. It removes interference. The universe, operating on its own efficient logic, may have a path for you far more brilliant than anything your mind can conceive. Because it isn't limited to your past experiences. Your job is to hold the frequency of the vision, calmly, consistently, without urgency. The universe's job is to handle the flight plan. And the click happens not when everything is controlled, but when enough trust is present to stop controlling. This experience of universal alignment is one of the most profound things a person can go through. It's the universe winking at you, confirming that you are on the right path. If you have ever felt this, if you have made a choice and then watched in awe as everything fell into place, I want to hear about it. Share your story in the comments below. What synchronicity blew your mind? What was the moment you knew? Everything had changed for good. Your story could be the spark someone else needs to trust their own shift. The journey from a major decision to universal alignment is a journey from choice to embodiment. It begins with a single, brave act, collapsing your infinite potentials into one chosen, clear frequency. From there, it is all about trust, focus, and surrender. We've used the beautiful, mind-bending language of quantum physics as a set of metaphors to illuminate this process. While our minds cannot literally bend the laws of physics, the parallels, as seen in Jim Carrey's story, are too striking to ignore. Concepts like entanglement, observation, and least action give us a powerful way to talk about the deeply personal experience of watching our world magically reorganize itself around our frequency and intention. The click isn't an accident. It is the natural outcome of a consciousness that has become focused and aligned. It is the audible sound of your inner world finally snapping into place with your outer world. It's the moment you stop just hoping for a better life and start living inside a universe that is actively conspiring to help you. You have made the shift. You have sent the signal. Now, hold your focus, release your resistance, and listen with every fiber of your being for that beautiful, undeniable click. It's coming.